From fleeting pleasure to infinite bliss, an introductory primer 1. Introduction. The heart of the search. My dear seeker, you must realize that the drive for happiness within you is not a mistake. It is your very nature calling you home. Every living being gives primal importance to safety and security first, for survival is our foundation. But once you feel secure, your heart naturally reaches for enjoyment. This is not a worldly flaw to be suppressed, but a fundamental movement of life itself. As we explore together, consider this core truth from the author. It is our inborn nature to go after enjoyments. The secured life is also meaningful, if there would be the chance of pleasurable or painless life. This search for pleasure is the engine of all human activity. Yet, why does it so often feel like we are chasing the horizon? To find a happiness that does not wither, we must look closer at the pleasure we currently pursue and understand the mechanics of the pendulum that swings between our joys and our sorrows. 2. The duality of ordinary life, pleasure versus pain. In the ordinary walk of life, we are often at the mercy of our circumstances. We live on a pendulum, swinging back and forth based on the satisfaction of our desires. The pendulum of experience pleasure, the positive swing, pain, the negative swing. A temporary response to favorable circumstances that align with our will. A sharp struggle or resistance against events happening against our will. We unconsciously accept this state, becoming one with it in effortless ease. We feel a deep self-contradiction and a desperate conscious urge to escape. It feels like a self-forgetful state of harmony. It creates mental friction and a heavy sense of I trying to fix the situation. The sweet and diabetes insight. Observe, my friend, that ordinary pleasure is inherently limited because it is a chemical reaction within your nervous system. The author offers us the analogy of a person with diabetes. Eating a sweet is pleasurable in the moment, but if one indulges beyond the limit of the body's design, that very pleasure destroys health. Because pleasure relies on these finite physical changes, it cannot be maintained forever. Eventually, it must turn into its opposite or fade away. This is why the tour of worldly pleasure always ends in exhaustion. 3. Redefining an anthem, more than just a feeling. In our spiritual seeking, we often use the word ananthem, but we frequently confuse it with ananthem, bliss. There is a subtle but profound shift here that you must grok to move forward. Ananthem is a high or a peak feeling, while ananthem, A plus anthem, literally means the state of the infinite or the endless state. The 3 essential differences. 1. Independence from cause. Sensory bliss, an anthem, is a result produced by a cause, like a deep meditation or a beautiful sunset. An anthem is the substratum, the base reality that remains even when no cause is present. 2. State of being versus having. A sensory high is something you experience. An anthem is what you are. 3. The absence of opposites. Ordinary pleasure is defined by its opposite, pain. The infinite ananthem is a basic reality that has no opposite. It is the tasteless base upon which all tastes appear. The warning of the sage. We must be careful not to get stuck in blissful meditational experiences. Sri Bhagavath echoes the wisdom of Ramana Maharshi, who advised that when a great bliss arises, we must not simply bathe in it, but ask, to whom is this happening? This moves us beyond the temporary feeling and toward the infinite state that lies behind it. The anatomy of experience. The I and the object. When you say, I am experiencing happiness, you feel like a solid I, observing a separate object called happiness. But let us look at how the mind actually functions. 1. The illusion of the two. In truth, the experiencer and the experienced are not two separate entities. They are two sides of the same coin, the thought itself. 2. The dream analogy. Imagine you are dreaming of climbing a mountain. In the dream, there is a dreamer and a mountain. When you wake, you realize both were made of the same substance, your own mind. 3. The Astavatthani, attention shifter. You might think the I is a permanent observer, but the mind can only know one thing at a time. Consider the Astavatthani performers who seem to do many things at once. In reality, they are just shifting their attention incredibly fast. Your sense of a solid I is just a series of rapid fleeting thoughts appearing one after another. 4. The king and the monkey. Why does the I feel so heavy? Because of the struggle to control. Remember the story of the king who was told he could be healed if he took medicine without thinking of a monkey. Of course, the moment he tried not to think of the monkey dominated his mind. The I is born from this very struggle. When we take responsibility for spontaneous thoughts, we create the experiencer who must fight them. If the king had realized the thought was spontaneous and not his, the monkey would have had no power. 5. Sahaja Samadhi, the healthy body analogy. The goal of our journey is Sahaja Samadhi, practical trance. It is not a mystical vision, but a return to your most natural, healthy functioning. The author illustrates this with the beautiful tongue analogy. Experience, taste. When food touches your tongue, you experience sweetness or bitterness. This is a temporary reaction. Beingness, the natural state. When your mouth is empty, your tongue is tasteless. Yet, it is not dead or unconscious. It is fully sensitive and self-aware. This tastelessness is the metaphor for Anantham, the infinite base. The beauty of Sahaja Samadhi, consciously unconscious. Think of a healthy body. You are not conscious of your liver or your heartbeat while they function perfectly. They function silently and defectlessly. This is how the mind should be. Absence of friction. In this state, the mind functions without the noise of self-contradiction. It stops trying to taste itself and simply exists in its natural health. 6. The final destination, returning home. My dear friend, spiritual inquiry is not a tour to a strange faraway land. It is the process of finally returning home. The tour, meditational experiences. These are exciting and full of variety, like visiting a foreign city. They offer ecstatic highs and strange things, but eventually, the tour becomes exhausting. You cannot live on a tour forever. Home, liberation, sath. Home is ordinary. It is familiar. It is the place where you can finally stop seeking and just be. At home, you don't need a reason to be satisfied. You are simply free. The final destination is the realization of Sath-Chith Anantham. This is not a list of 3 things, but a holy union. Sath beingness. Your home, the non-dual base where there is no division. Chith, life, movement, the natural flow of thoughts and actions. Anantham, endless, no contradiction. The state where Sath and Chith meet without struggle. When your life flows from your being, without the I trying to control the monkey, that is the infinite. It is life without contradiction. 7. Summary checklist for the learner. As you move back into the world, carry these grokkable truths in your heart. Pleasure is a guest, not the host. Worldly and spiritual pleasures are bodily chemical reactions. They are meant to come and go. Release the monkey. You are not responsible for the spontaneous thoughts that arise in your mind. Stop the struggle, and the experiencer loses its weight. The I is a rapid flash. Like the Astavathani, the mind shifts quickly. There is no permanent I entity, only a flow of thoughts. Be consciously unconscious. True spiritual health is like a healthy body. It functions silently and perfectly without the noise of self-consciousness. True bliss is the tasteless base. Real Anantham isn't a high-intensity feeling. It is the silent, ordinary, and free state of being at home within yourself.